So just quickly reviewing from the fall, in terms of scanning, our staff, who is comprised of, as you know, many different therapy and service staff, we decided to focus on health and well-being because it really does encompass all the work that we're doing, which is quite varied. But in terms of the scanning, we determined that much of the work that our staff does is directly tied to this aspect. And health and well-being of our students is often reflected in the health and well-being of their caregivers as well. So that was something that we wanted to focus on. And that our work extends to supporting the student's family in a variety of ways. In terms of our hunch, we recognize that a wide range of complex factors directly affect the health and well-being of our learners, including student diversity, socioeconomic factors, family, caregiver health and well-being, and often family dynamics. So that's where we started from, beginning of the year. So what I'm going to do is just share 5 different of my staff of what they decided to specifically focus on, once again, because they all do different roles within the district in supporting our students and schools. They decided to choose their own aspect of health and well-being specifically. So I'll go through 5. So the first one is Arnold. Arnold is our deaf and hard of hearing teacher, and this is a continuation from his last year. He wanted to really focus on the economic and material well-being aspect. And so his scanning hunch was he recognized that some students with diagnosed hearing loss do actually not wear their hearing aids or have not started wearing hearing aids. And he wondered, for some students, could there be a cultural component to this? Some of the students, in fact, a few that he was specifically focusing on were immigrant families. So his learning piece was that he liaised with interior health audiologists to understand their perspectives and hear their recommendations, how he could further help and support the kids and the families. And what did he do? He made a real effort this year to create personal connections with the families. Instead of being a person in the background that just supports the kids once in a while, he reached out to the families directly, the adults, the parents, and had conversations with them, help get, them understand a little bit about the background about their child's hearing loss, and what he could do to directly support them. He also attended parent-teacher conferences in April with the students with hearing loss, and in the end, he received information back from school staff that this has increased student use of hearing aids, most likely because the families are more on board and they have a better understanding in terms of their child's hearing loss and what we need to do to help support their kids. So that was Arnold. The next one was our occupational therapist, Andrea Anderson, and she, once again, this is a continuation of last year. Her focus of the mental health and well-being, mental health and mental and emotional health and well-being was her aspect, specifically self-regulation. So she had some scanning. She learned that students are struggling more with mental health. That was one. Managing stressors is harder for students in the school environment since COVID, so that's not a new thing that we've all noticed. And that some students get overstimulated in the classroom environment in terms of noise, visual distractions. So what she did, with the help and support of the schools and the admin in these schools, is she put together some sensory and regulation spaces in the schools. And she focused on 4 schools: Costin Primary, Tuckalnuit, Oliver, and SPSS Elementary. And these are just some photos that show the different sensory spaces of things that, through student services in the schools, we worked together to come up with a plan of what was needed in each school. We purchased the equipment or the furniture, and then we got it set up. So it really was a 2-year plan in the making, and those are just a few of the different spaces, and it just shows accessible swings and some sensory, the light cube down below, and creating multiple zones with some soft muted colors in another school. And some things that she found, so the checking piece for Andrea at Oliver, you can just read some of those. They're used daily, the spaces. Multiple students can use the spaces at once. After school program can also use the space, which is great because a lot of the same kids that have the same sensory needs also attend after school programs. Our outside agencies such as OS&S They can use the spaces for their therapy sessions when they come into the school, specifically the Autism Intervention Program that supports our McKinleys. EAs loved having the space when they were working one-to-one with kids, that they had another space to work with kids with him. In Boston, a lot of similarities, keep students safe. Students actually seek out the space. Space was in a low traffic area, so students were better able to regulate. It's not used for schoolwork, so that was an important piece, that these spaces really were kept to just being for sensory calming space. They weren't asked to bring their extra math or spelling in. So it really was a designated space, and it really did help the kids realize that this was a designated space to help me regulate. The third one, this is from Christina, our IC, Integrated Child Nutrition Clinical Counselor. And what she was focusing on is that she recognized that some parents don't feel safe coming into schools and may feel disconnected. And she wondered, is this rooted in their own school experience or their child's current school challenges, or possibly both? And so what Christina did is she liaised with the inclusion support teachers, counselors, admin at the school about how to best support communication with parents. Communication from the school to parents and from the parents back. And she wondered, how could she bridge the communication between the home and school in a positive and supportive way? And what she did is she made offers to parents to connect with their school and support them in meetings where they felt to help them feel more comfortable. She helped parents and kids identify a safe person at the school. And in meetings, she encouraged staff to share what's going well for the students. And that's often what our schools are doing anyway, but she made an extra effort to really try to bring out the strengths of the child. And she focused on the team aspect of wrapping around the child so that the families knew it's not just the school and, did something happen? No. So it's not just the school and the child and the parent, but there's other outside agencies, there's other staff and other people that are wrapping around the child to help support them. And in the end, her reflection was, because of her role as a NICE clinician, often families view her as a little bit of an outside person from the school. She's connected but slightly removed, and that in turn created a little bit more safety for them if there was a challenge with the family in terms of having that trust piece. It just was one more person that could bridge that communication between the family and the school. And finally, where tech support pops in.
You've got it.
Any suggestions?
Can you exit out? They won't let you exit out.
Where's the job support?
Escape?
Black.
Okay.
Yeah, black.
Very good,
I knew it, thank you.
Did it go?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Jason. Thank you, Tess. Final one is from our SLPs, and our SLPs wanted to do a little bit of an inquiry around assistive communication devices. And so this is a 2-year plan. They suspected that perhaps a lot of staff did not know what was available for many students that might have a learning disability or need some support in assistive communication. So they put out a survey. They identified 170 kids in our district that would likely benefit from technology based on IEPs and other diagnoses and things that had come up for those kids through assessments and what have you. So what Jennifer Nadsel, she reached out to ARC, Accessible Resource Center, to determine what kind of supports we could provide the kids. They provided that information about those supports to teachers, to learning support teachers, inclusion support teachers. And what did they notice? More kids now are using those supports in schools. They notice teachers are using the supports more. They've trained their EAs to use the supports more, especially specifically around written output challenges. They've been able to provide more small group instruction with students. And then the next steps are, they hope to do a pilot next year for a grade 5 and a grade 5-6 class, some some classes across the district, and that the students and teachers will be trained using different technology that will help support them in their class and in their learning. And as an extension to that, they'll also, hopefully, Jennifer and her team will provide some coding to EA specifically as well. So that's good work. And just to tie it all together, just a reminder that although our team is very diverse with many different roles, we all do have a common